Awesome.
Well, we're a little sideways today, aren't we? Let's let's fix that. Oh, one moment.
Uh,
And
and why it's sideways is unanswered right
yeah,
now,
no,
really.
no.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going to say that was me because earlier, does that look level to me, right? Hold on. You guys got to work with us on this one. You got to work with us on it. Um, Listen, it was literally like a marriage because every time Jimmy Ray would make it perfect, I would touch it and screw it up. This has been happening all morning. Like at one point, it was so perfect. He's still messing with it. At one point, it was so perfect.
Yeah.
And I went up and I went, whoop, and like literally flipped it around like almost 360. And he passed
Well,
out in the
anyway,
chair.
welcome to Unanswered. I'm Jimmy Ray,
And I'm
and
Thomasina.
we are so glad you're here because we've got some stuff to talk about
Yeah, we
today.
do. Some real estate stuff.
Yeah, this whole Zillow thing you're gonna expound on.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of freaking me out a little bit in that we're so used to things just automatically going to Zillow. We got a little friendly little relationship going on. And now Zillow seems to have gotten too big for their britches.
Yeah. So they've been telling everybody in real estate, this tree is attacking me today, in case anyone wants to know why I keep moving. Tree's attacking.
Yes.
Um, they've been telling everybody that coming soon, there's going to be this phase rollout
Mm.
where if you don't put a listing in the MLS, and for those that are clientele, that is our service that we actually post your home on, or for
Right.
buyers, that's where we look or send you links to for you to be able to go on
Right.
and look at homes that are for sale. Every area has their own MLS. Ours here is Rain. We also have War. We have a couple different ones that we belong to
And
because
that's
we
the
do a
authority
lot.
that agents in this area or your area, that's our authority as far as properties and, where we put searches and stuff to find properties for you if you're looking.
Exactly. And so they said on the 28th, which was yesterday, that they were going to roll this phase out of, if you did not, as an agent, put this listing in the MLS within 1 day of having it, then it was going to be banned. They couldn't go into Zillow. And
So,
for us, it's okay because I will say this: our little area here,
yeah.
we're not allowed to have coming soon. So backtrack a little bit to what we talked about last time. The Realtor Association, I said that,
Wearing the pen today.
yeah,
Just to look official.
the Realtor Association has decided that coming soon is going to be okay now after a
Oh,
little bit
great.
of a battle.
Okay.
The problem with that was that in our area is that our MLS isn't owned by the Realtor Association. We're one of 7 in the United States. It's not owned by the Realtor Association. And they said, I don't care what the Realtor Association says, you cannot have a coming soon. So for us, it's okay, our little tiny bubble we have here, because we can't have coming soon anyway. But for everybody else in the United States, they do coming soon. They market it, they put your home on social media, and they say, hey, coming next week, coming in a few days, coming up, here it is. They market open houses, they market um just listed, or I mean just about to be listed, coming soon. And if they do that, it literally says why I printed out. It literally says
If
yard signs, social media posts, open houses, or on a brokerage website, but not entered into the MLS
Right.
within 1 business day of being marketed, will
Right.
not be allowed to be listed on Zillow. So if they put a sign in the yard,
So if I put a sign in your yard that says coming soon,
no, you put a sign that says for sale,
oh,
period.
for sale.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. Coming soon for sale. But think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
When
yeah,
you go
yeah,
list a
yeah.
property, right? When you go out and you have the paperwork signed, you put a sign up. You don't want to come back again. You're going to do
Right.
it right then and there.
Right.
And so they're saying you have 1 business day to put it in the MLS. And if you haven't,
You're not getting on Zillow.
you're not getting on Zillow. And so Zillow is basically just shaking its hairy head and putting its big old chest out. And the reason is because realtors have already figured out, and they did years ago, that Zillow would take money from agents to give them leads. So agents and brokerages would pay them, and they would give them leads. And it was a great gig until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because now they've been so big and have grown so much, they've taken this money, and now they're actually a real estate company and have their own agents. And so they're competing with the same people that they were trying to help. And agents and brokerages are not happy about it. And so they have all tried to say, hey, we're not going to continue to give you money to get leads when you are actually taking the leads. And now they've seen that they're trying to cherry pick the leads and keep the good leads for themselves and give the agents and brokerages
Mhm.
the less desirable leads, is what the feeling is. They're saying, well, then we're just not going to put our listings into Zillow. And now Zillow's got wind of it, and Zillow said, hey, try me, hold my beer. And came out with this. So now this just came out yesterday, and it says in major markets. And I think they have to say that because there are those 7 like us that they can't. I mean, I feel like we're a major market though.
Well, in
Um,
radio, we are
yeah. Well, and we're the largest naval base.
in the world.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're kind of a major market.
Yeah.
Um, and then by June 30th, it says it's 3 strikes and you're out. And what type of listings won't be allowed on the site? And it goes through them. I don't know what it means by 3 strikes and you're out. I guess maybe they'll get a warning,
Yeah.
and then maybe you'll get a harsh warning,
Yeah.
and then you're out.
And then they'll
Um,
say, coming soon, you're out.
yes, that's
That's
exactly
the
what they're
second
going to
warning.
say. Yes, absolutely. And so
Okay.
I do want to bring this up though for sell by owners. It does say here the new rules, and I quote, do not apply to rental listings, for sale by owner listings, or listings of builder owned properties being sold by that builder.
Mm.
Because builder owned properties being sold by that builder don't usually go in the MLS, neither do for sale by owners. And rentals don't usually go in the MLS when they're being advertised by the person who owns the home as opposed to a brokerage.
So it's just about screwing the agents.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
Everybody else is
brokerages.
good.
Yeah, that's
So, yeah.
exactly what it's about. So that's big news. If you look above Jimmy Ray's head, I have a QR code there. If you scan that with your phone, you can actually go directly to the link. For those of you on TikTok, if you comment below, I'll send it to you because I couldn't put the QR code on there. TikTok did not have that advantage yet. But for everybody else on social media, just scan that and you can read this whole article. It's actually very short. I just have it in very big words on here because I am blind. I didn't put my contacts in today. I was in
So
a
many,
really big rush.
but so many people depend on Zillow. I
Mhm.
mean, the average consumer in the real estate market, Zillow is their go-to. If they don't have an agent, Zillow is usually their go-to.
Yeah.
And they've gotten big and bad and think they can start pushing agents around now with this whole thing.
Right.
And well, so the
They just
bottom
don't want
line,
to play nice in the sandbox, sadly.
yeah, yeah. So the bottom line is, um, if your agent understands all this stuff, which they should, you're going to be fine. You should definitely get that agent.
Yeah. If
Uh,
your agent doesn't know that this is happening, I will say this because the best brokerages stay up to date on everything that's happening in the market. And I say that not because that's what we do. That's
it
what
is
you
what we do.
should do.
It is what
That's
you do.
what all brokerages should do.
Yeah.
Because agents are out there and they are, and I always say they're in the trenches. Like they're in the trenches and they're doing everything they can for the clientele. As a broker or a brokerage, it's our responsibility to feed the agents the most up-to-date information and
Yeah.
keep them on top of what's
Yeah.
going on so that they can feed the clientele.
I was showing a house in Charlottesville, which is about 3 hours west of us here in Virginia Beach, last weekend, and it's amazing the difference. It goes to exactly what you were just talking about, how that all brokerages don't educate their agents uh, as well as they should.
Right.
And it's kind of sad because you're working from a disadvantaged point of view if you're that agent.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of up to Tomasinas everywhere to make sure their agents know what's going on, most up to date information, because then we can serve you in the best way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always want other agents to come to our brokerage and learn too. You don't have to be part of our brokerage. We always open doors. And I highly recommend that to anybody who's a business owner. Don't keep the doors shut, keep them open. It's better to be in business and educate other people's employees, agents, or field of people because you have to work with them. And so the
Absolutely.
more you educate them, the easier the transaction or the deal will go. And you can make friends. And I'm telling you, if you end up having a deal with somebody who came into a training of ours and you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's just such a smoother deal because you guys know each other, you recognize each other, and you understand each other a little better. And I'm not saying that as if, hey, you need to go out there and make friends with everybody, but I am saying you need to go out there and make friends with
Well,
everybody.
in our last episode of Unanswered, I was talking about relationships with the other
Mhm,
agents
mhm.
and how that's so
Yeah.
important that your agent is able and willing to go the extra mile to make that great relationship with the buyer's agent or whoever's on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Because really, in the end, they do have influence, and you want that influence to benefit your client. So, yeah, relationships are a big, hairy deal.
Yeah, they really are. So that's the big news, and you'll probably be seeing that popping out today, because every time something is soft rolled out, or as they say, a phased rollout, everything comes with backlash. Now, I will say this: the CEO of Redfin, Glenn, he vowed to implement similar measures shortly after Zillow's original announcement. While the company has not released more specific details about this, they plan to begin banning non-compliant listings in September, as reported by Inman. So the reason I'm pointing this out, Tree's attacking me again. The reason I'm pointing this out is that one of the things that is happening is that agents, like I said, or not agents, brokerages and companies are trying to not go through Zillow and pump all of their listings through there. They're trying to use other sources because of what they feel Zillow has done to them. And so again, Zillow is just already trying to go ahead and strong arm this, but definitely click on that QR code. It's a lot. I don't want to spend the whole episode talking about it, but there's a lot more to this. And thank you to North Jersey, who is actually where I got all this.
Yeah.
I've been following it for a while, but I wanted a shorter version to give to our viewers so that they didn't have to read a book. And NorthJersey.com actually had the best one that was like great to the point. And at the top, when you go in, they have key points. So it's like 2 little paragraphs that you can actually read. So,
Well, and on second half of this thing now. So the house I was referring to showing in Charlottesville
yes.
last weekend, $2.5 million sale.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner, it just never ceases to amaze me. And the agent representing is a very capable and very popular agent in that area. But I was so surprised to see a $2.5 million listing, white paint chipping off the bricks. One window was fogged up in one of the rooms. You know, at any price point, you need to prepare your house correctly and as much as you can to get the most money. That's the agent's job, is to advise you to that.
Yeah.
So it was surprising to me to come across this $2.5 million listing in the mountains of Virginia. That is an amazing contemporary property. It's an amazing property, but they didn't spray wash it, so the concrete was dirty. They have concrete walkways over this ditch or whatever, and it was dirty, and the house needed spray washing, and there was some. It just was very disappointing, and we didn't end up buying it. And my buyer is a cash buyer, and he was interested in this house. A lot of cool things about it, but when you get into that price point, buyers, they don't have that money because they're not meticulous about things, or
Yeah.
attention to detail. So I bring that down to any listing that I have. For me, and it's proven to be successful this way, when I go into a listing appointment, the first thing I do is try to figure out, A, how much equity do we have in this home?
Right.
Because that really kind of dictates how much we're going to be able to do if we need to do anything. How much playroom does the owner have? Also, their tolerance. They may not want any
Yeah.
playroom. So it's always up to the owner, but I just try to feel them out. And so it's up to me when I walk through that property to say, listen, this $2.5 million property, this window's fogged. We need to spend a couple $100 and replace it. Because when people that have that kind of money walk through this house, that's a negative.
Right.
Not only will it show up on the inspection report, but that's a negative. You don't want negative vibes, and whether it's a $250,000 property or a $2.5 million property. So today I just wanted to cover how to prepare your house to list.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to say this. Best advice I can give any owner: do not be there for the showings.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know you want to be, and I know you want to show off your pictures, which we're going to talk about in a minute of where they should be.
Yeah.
But don't be there for the showings. It just makes the new buyers, the new homeowners for your home, uncomfortable. And it's, in fact, yesterday I had an agent who told me that her family, they sold their home for, I'm going to say 750, and they could have got over $1 million. But the father decided that he wanted to be there for every showing and show pictures of his 6 daughters. And do all this. Well, what happened was the people were following the guy around, talking to him, never saw anything about the house. And so they went to other homes and they ended up going through the homes without somebody there,
Yeah. Yeah.
really falling in love with the home instead of the person.
Right.
And they ended up buying other homes and it stayed on the market for a really long time and they could have got over $1 million. So it literally, that's a lot of money.
And again, and I don't know which agent we're referring to, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, I always advise, and so do you, obviously, that they not be there because also it can be very personal to a non-professional
Yes.
selling a property, especially if it's your property and you've raised 6 kids in this property or whatever. You've got all these memories. If people say something negative in their little tour and you happen to be there, uh, it can get really weird and wonky.
Yeah, it really can. And word of the wise for all buyers, I would not speak about anything in the home until you leave because there are cameras
Oh, yeah.
everywhere and they don't have to disclose that. So you
Absolutely.
definitely should wait till you leave and your agent will be telling you that. Mum's the word. Maybe you'll have some hand signals that you can do throughout the home, but you could talk about it when you leave.
Well, and I always, if I see that happening, I always kind of whisper to my clients.
Yeah.
And even outside, you got a Ring camera, you're going to catch
Yeah,
it. So
usually
let's
it's
wait
at the
till we get to the
cafe.
car. So, because you really want to keep all the leverage on your side, whatever side that is.
Yes.
But so in preparing your house to sell, when I find out the tolerance and the amount of money they have at their disposal
Mhm.
to do whatever, my thing has always been, let's walk through the house and make the most difference for the least amount of money because I'm here to make you the most money.
And that sounds very reasonable to any
Yeah.
seller, right? And that is what needs to be done.
Absolutely. So usually that means paint. If there is a fogged up window, it's going to show up on the report. You're going to have to replace it. So I mean, things like that. If there's bad carpet or something, I mean, if there's just little things like that, because here's the bottom line, and you ladies know exactly what I'm talking about. When you go into a property to view a property, it can be a couple, but the wife is going to make the decision. And so I always try to make it wife friendly. So,
Wife friendly. And like I said, we already had a debacle over just an iPad today. So he's had to re-level my iPad 5 times.
I mean, guys, we're so easy. We just want our little space and, that's it. But the ladies really, so I always try to prepare my home for the wife, for the ladies.
Right.
Because when they walk in, if it smells bad, they're out. If they walk in and it's dirty, they're out. If the kitchen is not nice or whatever, if you haven't prepared your home to sell to a lady, you're making a huge mistake.
And that is true. And I will tell you this. So my son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, they look every now and again for home. They're actually living in one of my rentals and it's a very nice home and they're happy with it, but they're always looking. And every time they go, she takes her dad and he takes me. And one day we're all going to live on a compound, just so we all know that that's what's happening. We've already decided.
Thomasina Park.
Yes, we're all living in a compound. So um, we go and he and I head to the garage and they head inside the house,
Yeah.
which is so funny because you would think I would go with her in the house and
Yeah.
he would go with her. But
Yeah.
no, we know our kids,
That's
right?
right. Absolutely.
And so he knows that he needs to make sure his daughter loves everything in the house, but he can also talk to her about what can be repaired, right?
Yeah.
And I know that my son is going to need to love everything in the garage, but I also have to talk to him about what needs to be repaired in the
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
house.
Right. So, I mean, that's the realities of this situation. So, if you can make it woman friendly, then you have a much better chance of selling your home. So, little things like, flooring, carpet, just cleanliness,
Aesthetic.
always make sure your house smells good, it is clean,
Yes.
because the dollar difference can be amazing just because of that.
Yep.
Because women like clean.
Yeah, they do. And I will tell you, a lot of people are getting away from chemicals now. So everybody thinks, oh, I'm just going to put in this plug-in or these wax warmers, or don't ever light a candle and leave.
Right.
Don't ever leave the wax warmer on and leave. And I would not do the plugins because everyone is trying to get away from the chemicals. What I would do is, if you're a baker, bake some bread before you leave.
Cookies.
A cake. If not, what you can do is, it's very simple, is just simmer a pot on the stove with some cinnamon and
Mm,
apple in it.
yeah.
And that's it. Don't leave it simmering. Just do it before you leave and then
Right.
let it cool
Just
down.
fill the house with that smell.
Yeah. And that's not chemicals. It's natural and everyone's okay with it. And it smells so good.
Yeah. And so, listen, everybody likes good smelling stuff, right? But women in particular,
Yes.
you like clean, you like nice smells, you like what you like. And
Hmm.
so the more you can know that and prepare the house in that direction, the more success you're going to have, the more success I've had. I've been very fortunate in that way. So when I talk to my sellers, I say, so what is it you want to do here? And how tolerant are you to fix some things? And some people will listen, I don't have any extra money. I need to sell it as is. At least we're going to clean it.
Yes.
That's the very minimum that we're
Yes.
gonna do.
And if you can, take the animals with you.
Oh, yeah.
I love animals and I would hate for anyone's animal to get out or get hurt. That's a big concern of mine, but also a big concern is if you do have them and they're in a room, there is that room that they can't look in.
Right.
And that could be the room that changes things. And I know that you're picking the room or the garage or what the case may be, but that could have been the part that changed things.
Maybe it's
So
the man cave.
yeah, or leave them with a neighbor or a family member.
Yeah.
But take them with if you can. And some people don't want any animal but live in a house with any animals at all. So
Right. I actually had one time that, when the tour was going great, it was the inspection, and this woman, first-time home buyer, followed the inspector around the house during the inspection, which I
oh
never
wow.
recommend because they give you a full report afterwards.
They sure do.
And,
It's a
he
book.
opened up this, vanity in one of the bathrooms, and there was a kitty litter
Oh, litter
box.
box. Mm,
And this woman, that was the end of it.
it was done.
That was the end. And he even replaced the vanity and the flooring and the toilet that evening
A
to
shame.
make it all go away. And it didn't because it just turned her off so badly that she just couldn't buy the house. And
Yeah.
I mean, we were there. And so it's so important to do little things like that and to pay attention to those little details. And that's what I try to do is when we go through it. So, and also something on the outside, landscaping is something you don't have to buy a million plants or, get exotic with it, but maximize what you do have with good landscaping. So if you need flowers in a little bed out front that has no flowers in it, but it's a bed, you need to plant some flowers. But otherwise, manicure the yard, edge it,
Yes.
mow it, keep it mowed.
Curb appeal's a big deal.
Absolute big deal. And that's why I also suggest with homes that a power wash. I mean, I've got a
Yes.
guy that'll power wash a house for $150.
I actually need a power wash guy.
I
I'm
got
glad you said
I
that.
got Scott's the man.
I had an amazing power wash guy, and unfortunately, he moved.
Yeah, Scott Richards is his name.
All
He's
right,
very
Scott
good.
Richards, you just got a shout out and a new client. I will be calling
So
you.
anyway, so you wash the house. It looks as good as it's going to look. You just want to present it as good as
Hmm.
you can within your budget, whatever that is. Do the maximum because those little details could be the difference between a sale or not.
Absolutely. And if there is, small things that you can do around the house, I'm not asking you to be a contractor. We don't want you to be a contractor unless you
No.
are one.
Mm-mm.
But if there's small things that you can do around the house, like replace covers for outlets or lights,
Absolutely.
or if you have outdated fixtures, you can definitely update those. Those little things really do make a difference. If you can't upgrade your kitchen or your bathroom, it's outdated, at least upgrade some small things that you can. And if you can't and it's in the budget though, I would highly suggest giving an allowance for it and posting that.
Mm.
So I would actually post that like on an 8x10 wherever it's at. If it's a countertop, because as soon as they look at the countertop, like, oh, I hate the counter. But if they
Right.
look at the countertop and there's an 8x10 that says there's an
Right.
allowance for countertops, please ask about it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I would do that. Any place that you feel when you're walking in your home, you're like, oh, I really wanted to upgrade that. And if you're going to give an allowance, I would post that there so that they know, because sometimes the agent's not telling them. Sometimes the agent's letting them just walk around.
Yeah.
I do that. I go, do you want to look upstairs while I stay downstairs for safety
Yeah.
issues? So that I'm kind of looking out downstairs while they're upstairs, especially in a vacant home or if it's in the evening. And I go, okay, if you guys want to look downstairs, I'll take a look upstairs. Plus, I'm also looking for things that I can point out to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I switch with my clients and let them have their space.
Well, we're getting ready to do that on a house I'm selling in Chesapeake coming up that's getting fixed up now.
Oh, nice.
But a huge pool out back, but they took the liner out a couple years ago and bushes were growing up
Oh,
in the
goodness.
bottom. So it needs a whole new vermiculite bottom and a liner. And so $15,000 credit. So we're going to advertise that right with it.
Which
So
is great.
yeah. So that lets and that number comes from asking my pool buddy, okay, how much is it going to cost to do this work? And then giving the appropriate
Yeah.
credit.
And he'll put that in the MLS and then also post it on the door, whichever door they're going to go out to the backyard so that they can see that before they ever go
And I'll
out there.
probably
And it
tell the
mentally
agent,
prepares them. Yes.
I probably, because I'm Mr. Relationship, I'll probably tell the
He
agent
is
before they
Mr.
go.
Relationship.
I'm like, no, I don't mean that.
No, he is not like that, but he is Mr. Relationship. Like there's not a person that doesn't like Jimmy Ray.
Oh, well.
He can light up a room and make a friend out of anyone.
Well, there
So.
were a couple girls in high school.
Oh, I just said you weren't like that. You can't go back.
No, no, not like that.
No, you
Anyway,
can't do
so
that.
but yeah, so it's all about that. And just I always like to be as communicative as I can with my client and with the other agents, because you know what? That way they begin to trust you. Okay, well, he's not jiving me, he's not hiding anything. Here it is.
Yeah, I will tell you, trust and respect goes so far, so far. Don't try to be the leader of a relationship with your client. They want trust and respect, and then that gets you trust and respect. Don't be the leader. You definitely want to be the professional, but this is the time where you're not going to be the leader because it comes off so harsh sometimes.
Yeah.
And make sure you understand personalities. If you're dealing with an S personality that is I say for the disc personality, I say S is very soft and shy. You don't want to come out, okay, let's go do this today. They're like,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
little aggressive.
Yeah.
Know your personalities.
You got to play the room.
Yeah,
So
you
to
do.
speak.
Yeah, you got to play the room and read the room at the same time. And if you don't, and you just come out because a lot of agents are very aggressive
Yeah.
and poignant, it's just not going to work out.
Well, and I think too that clients, you got to figure out what kind of a client do you have? What is their disc
Right.
score? But at the same time, you're serving them, but you need to be firm about what you know.
Mm-hmm.
You're the realtor professional, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
And as a realtor, don't forget that you can do wonderful things as closing gifts and different things for you to do. We have talked about that before. A lot of people like to just give some champagne or whatever, but I mean, mosquito spraying, that's, something that's different. Having a welcome to the neighborhood party for your clients. One, it's going to get you other clientele in the neighborhood, but two, it helps introduce them because all those people want to come over and see who they are, who's moving in, right?
Yeah.
Having that.
See all their stuff.
Yep. A
You know how it
home
is.
warranty, giving them a home warranty so that they have something for a year for
Yeah.
anything that breaks. Those are nice things too. And I'm saying this on here just because I want you to know to think outside the box too as agents.
Yeah.
Because it's there to help your clients, but also it's going to get you more clientele to do the out of the box thinking.
Yeah, and speaking of home warranties, I think that's going to be my next topic on our next
Well,
episode.
let's have Tina or Maddie come in and
Yeah,
talk. We can
let's
have a
do
guest.
that.
It's time to have a guest anyway.
Yeah.
So let's grab
Because I
one
know
of
you're
them.
tired of us already. It's
Absolutely.
like
You've
just
got to
two
be
of us
tired
for
of us.
30 minutes. It's like,
We
come
literally
on.
laugh at our own jokes, and there's nobody even in the room.
I know. I hate that. Don't you? But home warranties, I just went through that home warranty thing with one of my appliances, and I have a lot of things to pick about home warranties. So it'd be great to have somebody in here
Yeah.
to educate you. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
That'd be good.
next episode.
Wonderful. Well, we are almost at time. So that was a lot. I know. Again, if you want to know more about Zillow, and if you missed the first half of this about Zillow banning listings, right there above Jimmy Ray's head, just scan that QR code. Also, put in the comments any questions you have.
Yeah.
We'll answer them. Jimmy Ray's phone number is below. You can call him. He will actually answer,
Absolutely.
unlike most people, but he will. If anybody is out there that needs to list or buy, also, you can call him too. Any agents that need any advice, you can call. Usually my number's up there too, but I also put the Zillow up there instead of mine. So, but if you talk to Jim Ray, he can give you my number as well.
Absolutely. So don't be
You can find me
shy.
on all the social medias too. And you can really just Google my name and my phone number comes up. It's pretty easy. But thank you all for tuning in. It was a great session today.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
A lot of info.
Lots of info. All right. We'll see you next time on